Your flight centre, night centre, see the starry light centre, cruise centre, tours centre, are you insured centre? Stay young, have some fun, follow the sun, take the plunge, easy done centre, island top, over the top, one-stop shop, never stop. Your centre, our centre, flight centre, at the centre for 40 years. Flight centre.
I feel like I see that everywhere.
Good.
Yeah,
Yes.
good marketing.
Yeah.
Who's the marketing person? So Flight Centre has been known to do things very differently, but they're also incredibly successful at it too. And it's actually no coincidence that Flight Centre employees are actually quite highly sought after in the travel industry because they're vigilant, they're hungry, but also they're really dedicated. So I'd love to unpack that with you, Clint, and hear about some of the things businesses can do to drive high-performing staff themselves. So, company culture. What is company culture to you? And a strong culture starts with a clear sense of purpose. How does a brand find its purpose, and how can they ensure that it's embedded in the company culture?
Thanks, Hoda. Quite the long question to
sorry.
start with. Thank you. Didn't even have a cocktail. I guess for us, I think if a brand's trying to look for its purpose, that's probably a little bit of a concern. It should be embedded in there already, and I've been very fortunate to be with Flight Centre Travel Group for 18 years next month. And our purpose is really clear. It's to open up the world for those that want to see. Now, majority of us in this room work in travel, so that purpose really rings strong to me, and it's embedded with us all the time. So I think being in travel, we have such an amazing part of people's lives that they will talk about forever, and the stories that they sort of talk to their friends, be it good or bad, will live with them until they, continue on with this journey. I guess, how do we do it? And in Flight Centre, it's really big. It needs to be embedded across the board. So from if you're onboarding as a novice and going into one of our stores, or you're walking into any one of our head offices around the globe, it is there. To open up the world for want to see, it's there always. And then I think as leaders, and leaders really need to, one, believe in it, otherwise it's probably not the company for you, maybe controversial. But two, then you need to really be embodying that all the time. And I guess we've had a recent example. We brought about 450 of our team leaders and leaders for Flight Centre brand. We've just globalised the brand overall to Brisbane last November. And it was my leader, our GM, Andrew Stark, who said, hey, we really need to build Brand Warrior, and I want you to run a session that's based on our purpose to open up the world. So we did that, and it was one of the most well-received. I'm not just saying that because I ran it, but well-received because it sort of connected back of why we do what we do every single day and why you get up. And I think that purpose, or your why, is really important if it's for a business or personally even for yourself. Hopefully I answered the long question.
You did, you did.
This water's been sitting here for a long time.
It needs to be sipped. But how do you embed it on a day-to-day? What does an average day look like where you can actually speak about the company culture?
Yeah, I guess our culture is really based on philosophies. We have a layer down, and that's sort of in every room, and it really starts about people, and we talk a lot about brightness of future for our people, and our people makes up what our business success will be. I guess how you embed it, you need to sort of live it. You need to, I think we talk about trust and just showcase what we do all the time. I guess we're big on a culture. I'm really lucky to work for a brand that has a lot of fun, which sort of suits me, but that's all based on reward and recognition, and you get to have fun when you work really hard, and I think that's how we tie that together. But again, it's about leadership, and every sort of aspect of leaders, regardless if you're in marketing or finance or that sort of stuff, we talk about it often in our leadership meetings or what we do in our leadership pathways. How do you keep coming back to that? If you hear about a customer complaint, how are you looking to our philosophies to answer that question? It is ingrained in us through every sort of level that you're sort of learning about all the time.
I completely agree. Whoever has met Graham Turner, would actually completely agree with you. It always starts from the top at Flight Centre all the way down, while most employees actually look for great qualities from a junior staff member before even hiring them, but it's really about how can you develop this person into becoming part of Flight Centre. Now, speaking about trust, you mentioned something about that. That is a make or break. How do you build trust with your employees?
Yeah, it's interesting, and it's probably changed over time. I have some people in the room here that I've worked with or they work for me, and they probably say I've maybe mellowed out a little bit more. But I think trust comes from your actions. Like if you say you're going to do something, do it. It's not that hard. I'm quite a simple person, so I think that's one. But also I think it's the time to build relationships with people. I have 78 great marketers around the world that work for the Flight Centre brand. And at least once a year, it doesn't matter if you're 1 month into the job or been here for 12, I'll do a one-on-one with them. And what I'm really trying to get out of that with them is, what is your goals, personally and professionally? What are you doing to achieve those goals? What can I do to help you do that? And what are your motivators? Which I think we talk about it a little bit later. But I just think that builds trust, because literally in 4 months' time, we go, how are you going with that? Oh, you wanted to start that up. What's doing that? Oh, do you know Henry over there already has a band? Maybe you want to go talk about music. It's not really about just work. It's about that personal and professional development, because then people, one, will trust you. They also work fucking hard. I got told I could swear. So
yes, someone said that, and I don't know who.
Sorry about that. But then they work harder for you. So I think that's important.
I like the point where you mention, if you're going to say you're going to do something as a leader, you must do it, not for you as a leader, but for them, because that instills trust just by actions.
It's easy.
Sounds easy, yeah. When it comes to fun, Flight Centre are renowned for international, not chaos, shenanigans is what I've been told to say.
Bit of chaos.
And how does a brand actually juggle fun and work? Because I think Flight Centre do it really well. You work extremely hard and you party really hard too.
Yeah, we do both. We have a very strong work hard, party hard, play hard culture. It's based off reward and recognition. So it might be small things, like majority of our teams, it doesn't matter if it's within one of our stores or one of our sister brands, or marketing or finance or product. We hold either monthly or quarterly buzz nights. And that is to reward and recognise great people that have done great things over that month. That's
global, by the way.
Then we do some stuff like this once a year, where we get it's around top 15% of our organisation, and we jet set off to an amazing international destination. This year it's going to be Lisbon, so I know someone else said they were going to Lisbon soon, so we'll be in Lisbon. But literally, like, we get great bands, they get great speakers. You know, we've had Kylie Minogue and Fatboy Slim and all that sort of fun stuff. Yep, name dropping. Also, we're always recruiting. But
you did that last year too.
Sorry, I did do that. Yes. But also I think it's important then we get up on stage and recognise our top corporate BDM, like, you know, the cream of the crop. And I think that reward and recognition then plays into the work hard culture. You just don't get to play if you're not working.
Absolutely. Now, outside of pay, how do you incentivise your staff? Now, this could look like this, you know, but not everyone goes to global.
No. So one, I think it's to work out what are the motivators for your people. People talk about money a lot, but some people, I have two things that motivate me, and I call it pats, like I'm a puppy dog. I like pats or people saying, hey, you've done a good job. I also like money. But I think it's what it is. One's really cheap, the pats, and the other one's not. But I think it's either that or people want learning opportunities. We have some great people that have just joined the marketing team up here now that are doing great work. And this is, again, another way to reward some excellent things that are happening. I think it's all those bits and pieces. Also within our organisation, I think it's really important as leaders that you understand what your employee proposition is and how do you speak to it. So we have health-wise and we have money-wise, where we talk about, you can go talk about personal finance, or people go help you get home loans. So that's some of the extra benefits, I guess, or those employee benefits that we speak to outside of just pay. Plus we get to travel.
Yeah. Now, what does hybrid work look like at Flight Centre? That's become a real make or break for a lot of people wanting to start in this industry. What's your take on that?
No, I was like, Sarah Quinn, don't film this. Screw Graham Turner, our founder. He calls it work from work. We have a work from work policy, and he loves it. But I'd say we're a little bit different to that. We do. Culture is important to us, and how do you embed that in the team is one really important. So getting people into the office is really important for us, but we understand about flexibility. I have, like I said, I have teams in 6 countries and 9 cities, and some I've met after 2.5 years of getting them together. I think it's how you bring people together in those perspectives, and what works and not is different for individuals, but we have a culture that is built on people and relationships. So we push hard to try to get people to come into the office. I believe in it. But it's interesting to see, even when we had the minimum, hey, we want you in 2 days a week or 3 days a week, especially, and shout out marketing because we have a really strong culture, 4 to 5 days, people are coming in because they want to be there. I think if you create that environment, people will want to come into that. And then also have some fun when you're doing your international or global calls. We had a 5 a.m. call the other morning talking about our strategies and budgets the other day. We didn't pick good regions with time zones. So it's 5 a.m. in Brisbane, it's 10 p.m. in South Africa, and we all did dress ups. So I was in a Winnie the Pooh outfit, someone else in tennis gear, like everyone had all different things going, and we just do it because it makes people want to be there. And also we have a bit of a laugh while we do it.
I love that. Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah,
share that photo.
Yeah.
No, it was awful.
When it comes to building a team or team building exercises, most people will probably think after work drinks. So what does Flight Centre do that's out of the norm, and what can you suggest to really build a team where you create that deep level of trust?
Yeah, I'd probably split it into 2 different areas. One is, I think, recruitment. And I think when I was early on in becoming a leader, I had a role to fill, so fill it as quickly as I could. You know, I've got it there, let's go. Maybe the business will take it away from me. I probably changed that a little bit more and gone, hey, let's get the right person. And to be truthful, it's not really about, there's some specialty skills in there, but I look for, is someone hungry, is someone humble, and is someone smart. I think if you have someone that's hungry to learn, they're humble about how they do it, and they're smart, they're characteristics I look for more than a potential skill. On the reverse, I personally find the hardest people to probably lead or to bring into a team and create that great dynamic you need to have a really successful team is people that aren't self-aware. I think that is a key, and it's a really hard one to sort of pull out, and I actually stole this. It would have been an Instagram or something years ago when it was coming in, and it's, hey, when you take someone to the office or you're about to do the interview, you take them past the kitchen, and you ask them if they want a tea or a water, and then you go in and they take the tea or the water in. If they don't offer to take that cup out at the end, then I go, oh, maybe they're not right for us.
Wow.
Brutal, but true, because I think that builds a culture. Like, no one's there to do stuff
now
for you.
Everyone
We're
is
all
thinking,
in there.
did I take that thing
Sorry.
back?
But I like personally, I was like, I like that, and it's something so simple that you can reflect, because a lot of people have a lot of different attributes that you want to take on board. So that's one bit. I think on the second bit, there's 3 things that you look for in a team, or good communication and how do you fill their cup. And the third one is a lot of fun. So I think communication, high expectations, which I think a lot of people are good at, but high accountability really needs to be in there. I'm ruthless at follow-up. You can boomerang the email back to yourself that you say you're going to do something. I do it, and usually people would have come back by then, but if they haven't, hey, where's that at? We've just done our strategy planning. I look at RAGE for the next year. Each discipline will now do their quarter plans, 4 quarter plans for the rest of the year, and then we catch up twice quarterly in depth with that team to go, hey, where are you at? You said you were going to achieve this. They've made the plan. How can I help you? What roadblocks do you have? And that sort of stuff. And I think that's easy. Then to go, cool, we stay on the right track, of what we're trying to do.
Do you think it's easier for a larger organisation to implement all of these incredible things that they want to do versus a brand that's actually quite small and it doesn't have all the facilities, or it might not have all the people. What do you think about that particular circumstance? Is it because that, you know, Flight Centre's quite large, so it's got the power behind it?
Yeah, and maybe, might have goggles on here, but I came from our smaller brands within our Flight Centre ecosystem. So we have Travel Money and Zoe's at the back, and we work together for a fair chunk of time. Our budget in comparison to Flight Centre was tiny. Our team was, I would say, a tenth of the size back then. You make fun how you make fun. It doesn't always come down to money and those sort of things, but I think setting some of those structural or framework things up can exist in a small company or big company. I actually found it hard to go from small to large than the other way, because I was like, I don't have 4 people just sitting around me. What's happening? What's doing? That sort of stuff. I had to get up and move. No, but they're based in other places. So I actually found that a lot harder. Yeah.
Had to team someone. Oh, God. This is my last question, and it's a bit of a hairy one, and I've added it in very last minute, and I think I just mentioned it to you right towards the end. I'm like, hey, I'm going to ask this question. Are you okay with it? Obviously, you had no say.
No.
You're like, okay. Hands up who has worked at Flight Centre.
Woo!
Always. Every single conference or travel event, there's always people that have worked at Flight Centre and they know exactly what you're talking about. So my question is, what do you personally think about the cult? Being a Flight Centre tag, obviously from an insider's perspective, what do you personally think about that? Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's a bad thing?
I personally, Flight Centre's either for you or it isn't. We don't do grey. I think if you go in and you go, hey, this is not going to work for me, that's not a bad thing, and that's not a reflection on the purpose. The person, or you just go, hey, that company doesn't hold potentially the same things that you want to be doing all the time. I don't mind the word cult, and I saw Dre at the back, and she was like a Flychella one where they all got us. We had 2,000 people. It was just after COVID. We're at River Stage in Brisbane. They put on this massive party, and our leaders started clapping like this. And then you saw 2,000 people just automatically start clapping, and I was like, we can't argue against what it is, because it is what it is.
We are who we are.
So own it, and then go, cool, and if you want to join the cult, come see us later. Yeah.
Thank you, Glenn.
Thanks you.
Killed it.
Thanks, Hearne.